Converted Man here. No paper clips. All right. Uncovering the deceptive logic that exposes Jordan Peterson by framing logic. This is a good video. Yes. Yes, it is a good video. I'm not here to criticize it for once. Oh, yes, I can talk about logical things without criticizing. It is possible to do. So, he is diving into a Peterson argument, showing the cognitive biases and framing out he maps the argument and shows the flaws of it, etc. Now, I'm more focused on the technical flaws of an argument, the fallacies made. But this is interesting, and I was watching. I'm like, well, I need to talk about this. This is logic. It's right up my my alley, and I'm framing logic. Well, of course, I'm subscribed. I have to, So he goes over Peterson's first premise in this particular argument that Peterson's giving, and then he says, okay, during this, take the moments where note when you get emotional. But I don't. Well, I do get emotional, but when I analyze logic, I don't do that. I very much try to separate my emotion from analysis because it just gets in the way. So that doesn't work for me. But it's an interesting technique, I suppose. Make a note of, if it spikes emotion or not. I'm not interested in that. Is what he's saying valid and sound, or just sound? And going back to his first premise, which is a paragraph rather than a premise, is that science is like religion, or it's similar. It's kind of like doing religion. It's not, but Peterson seems to think so. And the wrongness, logically speaking, is, well, category error, for one. Association, causation, failure. You'd have to show how the two are alike. And I don't think that you can do that. Religion, well, this is kind of a broad field. What do you mean by religion, right? Because Peterson loves the what do you mean by, right? Well, typically, religion is a set of practices performed by groups of people that are constructed to maintain a hegemony of ideas. The tradition, social cohesion, family, lists to obey, or to things you're supposed to do or not do, ceremony, ritual. You go to a church, there's kind of a format and a flow to churches. I haven't been in a while, but last time I went, you go, hi, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to see you. Shake hands, blah, 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 blah. Get your name, blah, blah, blah. Sit down. All right, we're going to read a thing, or bless everybody, whatever. Here's some song. Here's stand up and sing this song. Now you can sit down and sing the song. Then we're going to talk a little bit about this. Then we're going to sing another song. And we're going to say this thing. And then we're going to stand up or sit down and sing another song. And then we're going to pray. And then we're going to have the preacher come, say his thing. That's going to take the bulk of it. And then you're going to get to go to communion or not. And then we're going to say a little bit more and do another little song. And then everyone can go and eat or go home. And okay, and that's it. It's kind of like, it's like, and Catholicism is even more of a performance. My word, they spend hours doing their thing of, the guys march down the aisle, they have the thing that's swinging around, and all of this silly, pointless stuff that doesn't matter except to the people that care about it. Religion asserts its truths. Religion says, this is how it is. Read these words. They are unchanging. Even though they do change, they are unchanging. Religion says what the answer is. Science doesn't. Science is a methodology of discovery. It is a tool, not a rigorous system. It is employed by multiple people across diverse political and religious backgrounds. It does not say that X must be true. It investigates whether it is or isn't true. So these two things are extraordinarily separate and can be demonstrably shown to be separate. So science is nothing even like religion. To get to that conclusion will require one heck of an argument Peterson doesn't make. This isn't even a premise. At best, it would be his conclusion, unless this is an essay style where it should be his thesis statement, but it's unsupported, so it's nonsense anyways. There you go. All right. Oh, web expert. Good morning. And good morning, Blaster Master. All right. So there you go. Okay.
Beneficial, right? Those aren't scientific claims. Those are metaphysical claims.
Okay. So what do you think of the logic there? A quick note on this exercise: if you'd like to participate and see this cognitive bias, all you need to do is make a mental note of the moments of this assessment where you feel a ping of heightened emotion, and then we'll come back to them later. I've added this part of his argument to the argument map. Another piece of evidence is science is a religious practice. This is a
Oh, okay. I also feel like clarifying. When he's saying evidence here, he's referring to the argument that Peterson is presenting. The pieces of the argument are being called evidence. I don't do that when doing logic. The premises are not in and of themselves evidence, although they could be referring to something real, and that real thing would be evidence. But, and yeah, it's a quibble. Whatever. Yeah.
a huge statement. I remember when I first heard it, after I released The Clutch of My Pearls, I remember feeling my brain trying to make this argument work, which is
okay. Now, like I said, I try to, whether I'm successful or not, it's another matter. I try to detach my emotions. I read and or hear that science as a practice is a religious practice, and I just say, well, that's just not true. Under any circumstance or condition, however you want that to, this would be a conclusion of an argument, but it would have to be one hell of an argument to get there. This is an association causation link that needs to be established to be true. Anyone can say anything. That doesn't make it true. I have no feelings about this one way or the other. It's just simply not true and lacks a supporting argument to show that it's true. So I just discard it as such. The hitch slap, as it was called, or is called, that can be asserted without evidence, can be dismissed without evidence. This is a nothingness. You have not said anything that is true, even a little. And your emotions shouldn't matter, but I mean, that's his thing, and fair enough. Okay.
Is basically the logical exercise called Steelman, or elevating the argument to its maximum good faith to make it as strong as you possibly can. Let's do that now. So how is this true? Science and religion have many things in common. Science is a religious practice. I think he means that science is like a religion in that people venerate it with great respect. It is repeated ritualistically. Both science and religion have their important locations, important texts. There's groups and communities. Both have rigorous intellectual practices. So there are real similarities.
I know you're trying to steel man him, but I'm not willing to do that. I'm just not. I don't. Your argument sucks. Goodbye. That's it. I'm done. Is science treated with great respect? I don't know. I think it would depend on where you go and who you talk to. Scientists might treat it with respect. Others not so much. And religion isn't necessarily treated with respect either. This is a tentative connection at best. And now I'm complaining about him. I said I wasn't going to complain about him. I'm complaining about him now. Whatever. I don't care. I'll do what I want. All right. Repeated ritualistically and prescriptively. There's a difference, though, and a marketable difference between the repeated actions you would have to take in science because the data demands it. The you might think of taking a little bit of liquid from one beaker and putting it into another beaker and doing that over and over again, as I've seen done sometimes. But that's a particular process to a particular setup of a test that's being done. Not because that's how it has to be done, but over time that's been shown to what works best. And you're free to develop your own methods and your own ways of doing things as long as you can show that they work. And if you find a better way that works, then you have an obligation to share that with others. So again, on a very surface level, maybe. Important locations, I mean, a laboratory, is that an important location, or is that just the location where the activity is taking place? Again, very tentative. Important texts, I don't know about that. Again, very tentative. Communities and groups, okay, sure, I'll grant that. But that's pretty much everything. So you could say that science is like a club, and you would have the same tentative collection of very, very surfacey level connections. It's a very weak connection and association, and as such, even if you're trying to steelman it, you're noticing that this is very, very weak, and so then you kind of wonder if this is going to make any decent argument if it's so weak to begin with. If it's so tentative that I can say it about anything, it's like science is kind of like a club sandwich. What? Yeah, a club sandwich. It has certain parameters to be a sandwich. You have to have bread to have a sandwich. Well, but you don't really have to have bread to have a sandwich. What makes a sandwich anyways? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Well, is cereal a soup? Look, let's not, but at any rate.
These both have rigorous intellectual practices, so there are real similarities. Let's do a quick lesson in logic. One of the ways you can think about logic is as an examination of inferences between ideas. There are two different ideas. Each is an island. And the inference, the words that are not said, is the bridge that connects these two islands into one greater idea. Logic is basically exploring whether or not that's a strong bridge. So is this inference?
I don't know that that's a very good analogy. I mean, I try. Okay, logic. Listen, logic is. Well, are we talking about formal or informal logic? First of all, logic is a pretty rose that smells bad. Formal logic is a system used to look at the formulaic variables and see if they pan out. Informal logic does that, but with real words. So there you go. It's a bridge? Not really. I mean, I'm not supposed to be complaining about this video. Dang it.
It's logical. Clear definitions here are critical. Unclear definitions create ambiguity. Ambiguity can be exploited to shift their argument when it suits them. So let's blow away the fog of ambiguity by establishing clear definitions for these ideas. So here's the definition for science. Here's a definition of religion that seems reasonable to me. But to better visualize them, let's continue this process of what we've been doing of reducing them to their elements. So here's what we already have. And here are the elements that go into religion. Sacred texts, belief systems, supernatural elements. And here are the elements that go into science. Empiricism, systematic observation, hypothesis, falsification, all the stuff that we've seen in science class 100 times before. So what about the elements they do not share? Provisionalism. Science is provisional, which means it adjusts itself as new information is presented. The scientific body of knowledge, of textbooks, etc., can change when new evidence presents itself.
Okay, so then he goes on with that for some time. I don't want to play the whole thing. I mean, I could play the whole thing and just respond to it as it goes, but I like this guy. I like his channel a lot. And if you're not subscribed already, maybe you should think about it. Check him out. Check out his videos. See what you think. And if he earns your subscription, then by all means. You know, the fact is, science and religion are extraordinarily different. They share a few, very few similarities, and you're pointing out all the differences. So Peterson's first premise is not true then, as I said in the beginning. That was what I thought the first moment I read and heard that was, I know this is not true. Now how do I know that? Well, let me work that out. Well, there's two things that are linked together that are associated to be similar. And so what link is there? Surface level, superficial links is not enough. It would have to be hardcore links that are unquestionable, that match. And his list there that he showed is not. Let me go back to that, because that was good. Good list of the elements of religion and science. And I don't know where he got this from or whatever, but sure, yeah, I'll grant this tentatively. You couldn't see more of a difference if you tried. As I said, I boil it down to the basics. Religion asserts, science explores. Religion says it's true, science hasn't made its mind up yet. They are not maybe they are polar opposites in that way. So Peterson's first premise dies. There's a failure to show any true linkage between the two, and so because of that, he has a fallacy. And when you have one fallacy, you don't have to do the rest of the argument. You're done. The rest of the argument doesn't matter. Fix your argument, come back, let me know what you've got this time. And the flaw, although he's examining like a cognitive flaw, the flaw for me that's important is the informal logic flaw, which is association causation, possibly a category error failure, and, well, simply put, just untrue, an unsupported statement, also known as a bald assertion or a bare assertion, or as I like to call, or you could also think of it another way, which is a fallacy I would like to be a fallacy, but it isn't yet, fractal error, or the outright lie. Yes, the outright. Wait, hold on, getting a call. Ring. What? Hello? Hey, no. Sorry. For those of you who don't know, outright lie used to be a character who would call and annoy me with his lies, but I don't accept his calls anymore. Anyways, but it's just not true. Religion and science are superficially alike in the same way that a tuna sandwich is like science. And that's all there is to it. Peterson's argument sucks. But you should still go watch this video because it's good. And I liked it. And I do like it. So I don't want to play more because we'll be here all day. And yeah, see, there you go. There you go. You said the thing that I said. He said the statement of the creature for his chin slap. And so there you go. Of course, theology and philosophy debates guy doesn't know or understand logic because he's a pre-supper. So, anyways, It's a little jab at him until he emails me for a conversation. I'm going to keep jabbing at him whenever I can. All right. Until next time, that's all I got for you. Check out this Uncovering the Deceptive Logic that exposes Jordan Peterson, because I do agree. Peterson has bad logic. And Potholer 54, well, I'm shouting out people. Definitely Potholer 54, although I think my subscribers should be already subscribed to him. And if
Climate is about
what you're doing, but you definitely should be subscribed to Potholer. This guy completely and utterly demolishes Peterson on the science stuff, because Peterson's doing the whole I don't know about climate change thing. And yeah, okay, you don't get it, but that doesn't mean it's not true, Peterson. I understand you don't understand it, but that doesn't mean that you get to complain about it. And if we were going to steelman Peterson's position there, it'd be like, well, you know, people have said that the world's going to end really fast due to climate stuff, and they were wrong. Yeah. And people have also said that about religion, and they've been wrong. So what? People can be wrong. But that doesn't mean that the science is wrong. It just means the people are wrong. And that's it. So check out Potholer 54 if you haven't already, and check out the video that I was just talking about. And that's it for now. Yeah, I didn't want to do too long of it. I just liked the thing and thought it was interesting and had a little bit to say about it. Until next time, be skeptical, and after next time, stay skeptical. And if you want to talk to me on my channel, email me, deconvertedman1@gmail.com, and we'll set up a day and time to talk live. And if you don't do that, then I guess we won't talk. So there you go. That's the end of the video now. Only lobsters will survive the apocalypse. Well, that's actually true. That's absolutely true. So now we're done. Now we can hit the button. All right. Button.